Hello everybody, my name is Josh McQuillan. Today I want to touch on a very sensitive subject to most people. This would be the death penalty. Okay. Do you think it should be allowed or abolished? In many places we are trying to currently abolish the death penalty. Before I touch on this, I'll tell you a quick story real quick. There was this man who was in a very heated argument with his ex-wife, and she drove off, and he had his daughter right in the next car with him. He pulled up right behind her, got out of his car, pulled out his gun, and started shooting at her. She drove off and crashed into a tree. He shot and killed his ex-wife right in front of his daughter. With that being said, many things cause people to flip a switch. Have you ever killed anyone? Have you ever gotten so angry or so mad that you've done something that what other people claim is completely and morally wrong? In many ways, I think self-control is a very powerful thing. Okay? I think self-control is what keeps people in positions of not doing things like this, right? This is a responsibility that is held on our society. Those who cannot contain this kind of self-control should be controlled by someone else. In our society, we believe those people should be controlled by our government. They're put into a prison. They're given life without parole. This obviously adds up to money. Money is the biggest question in whether the death penalty should be allowed or not allowed. This is like the argument that convinces people's minds. Well, I want to get this over right in the beginning. It is actually more expensive to house an inmate on death row than it is an inmate in general population. Why is that? Well, a lot of people don't know, but an inmate on death row actually gets specifically catered meals. So you have one guard who watches general population within a set given rotation time hour, and that's anywhere from 50 to 100 people depending on the precinct or where you're at. And then you have one guard watch 5 people on death row, if that. Like, the man hours there, that's part of the money that's taken into consideration. This one person can watch all these, so that's diminished taxpayers' money. But since this one person's hired to watch just one guy, that's all the taxpayer money to watch that one guy going to him. So where's our tax money going? And then food and water and all these kinds of things to take care, to allow a living situation for this inmate to be killed off. It averages about $90,000 more than the average general population in taxpayers' money per death row inmate. That's not even the court case. Okay? Facts have shown that court cases can go anywhere from $49,000 to $1 million on a case that goes over the death penalty for capital punishment. Why is this? Well, no one wants to die. There's going to be plenty of situations in where people are going to want to rebuttal the case. They want to go over it again. They want to call upon new evidence. They constantly look for outsources. They're paying lawyers hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is why the court cases cost more money, which is, to me, in my opinion, a fact that shouldn't be held accountable of whether the death penalty is worse or better. But that is the case. Now, with that said, there are many situations where the society itself, Americans, have been polled or surveyed or asked, what do they believe in capital punishment? A Naki Mikoyan, an economist who opposes the death penalty, has shown studies where there is a deterrent effect. The deterrent effect is an effect that goes, let's say we give this person the death penalty and it causes these people not to commit murder. Does that mean murder is going to be stopped? No. By no means murder will not be stopped. People are always going to oppose the law, or teenagers are going to naturally rebel, right? There's always going to be that problem. It's always going to exist. But it has been shown that the death penalty does cause deterrence in others to consider their situation. Example, let's say another man who's having an argument with his wife goes, man, that one guy just died from this. In the middle of his argument, and thinks, I don't want to be in his shoes. You know, and that's important. That has a role, because there's not a lot of things. If you ever thought, when you were in a huge argument or relationship issue or breakup or whatever it may be, it's hard to think straight when you're just going 100 miles an hour about the problem. But death can cause that 100 miles an hour to come to a quick halt real quick, because you don't want that. You don't want to put someone else through that, maybe. It could be a million possibility things. But deterrence has been proven. David Mawson, a data analysis for Heritage Foundation, he polled Americans. 67% believe in capital punishment for someone who's committed murder. Now, this is death penalty for first-degree manslaughter. This isn't you got drunk, were driving down the street and hit someone and then involuntary manslaughter. This is premeditated murder. Okay? 67% of Americans believe that they should get the death penalty. Why shouldn't they? Why should we allow these people to exist even in our prison? I mean, think about that. You have a family member that's ever gone to jail or prison? Do you want them around those kind of people who naturally go out and murder people? This is what they do. I'm sure you have something in your head that tells you that, hey, this is a wrong. This shouldn't be done. This is pretty wrong. We shouldn't do this. And that being said, well, this guy goes out and says, you know, screw that. I'm going to kill you. Blah, blah, blah. Ends up killing someone. And now he doesn't care about the consequences. But he gets life without parole. So now he's in prison. And he's with all his other buddies that are murderers. You got to fit in somewhere. Everyone falls in their cliques. And your brother, your uncle, your best friend ends up in prison for skipping on taxes for a year. Now they have to go to prison to pay that off. You tell me, is that fair? Is that right for him to be in that kind of environment? But hey, he made his choice to go there. He didn't pay his taxes. That was his problem. That's his job. I believe prison is a place for people to learn what they did is wrong. Right? Like not paying your taxes. Like stealing, theft. Any kind of these actions. But literally taking the life of another human being, or doing something as despicable as raping and murdering an 8-year-old girl, 8-year-old boy, these things happen. These kinds of people have something wrong in their morality system in their head. Why it is wrong to take the life of a human soul, it is still wrong, in my opinion, to allow these people to infect others with their morality, their judgment. You don't think that your brother, or whoever it is you knew that went to prison, is not coming out? They're going to get out. They have parole. They have probation. But now they've been in that environment. Now they have that on their record. Now it's going to look bad. It's going to be hard for them to get a job. Then they're going to fit in with what they got to know, the person they got to become. It's changed them. Instead of using all that money to pay for people who are on the death row or inmates that are on life without parole, why don't we use that money to help get the people in jail, out of jail, educated, degrees, ideas, things to help them progress when they get out and rehabilitate them into society in a proper way. Instead of just funding people who are just going to murder others, who are going to rape children, who think this is good or ideal. New York Times asked, does the death penalty save lives? It states in over a dozen studies, for each inmate put to death, 3 to 18 murders were prevented. This is a serious question. Is one man's life, or woman, or 3 to 18 people, should it cost that much money, to hold someone on death row? No. I think we should eliminate the problem. We should get rid of this. We should try to eliminate this from society as best as possible. Because as long as it exists, and as long as we're not doing anything rash about it, people are going to continue to do it. They're not going to fear their own consequences for their actions. It's like a child knowing that he's just going to get spanked for reaching in the cookie jar. You know? You decide.